We have massive breaking news at this hour. A major loss for Donald Trump and the Trump Justice Department as a federal judge has dismissed the indictment against former FBI Director James Comey because Lindsay Halligan, the acting United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, was improperly appointed by the President of the United States. This means that the indictment against Letitia James, the New York Attorney General, also will be dismissed because Lindsay Halligan was improperly appointed. A stunning, absolutely stunning decision that is a major loss for the President of the United States and for the Attorney General, a major egg in the face moment for the two of them who had long sought to prosecute Donald Trump's political opponents, starting with FBI Director James Comey, moving on to New York Attorney General Letitia James. And well, when you put a prosecutor who has never stepped foot in a criminal courtroom into a grand jury box like they did with Lindsay Halligan, this is what you get. You get an indictment that is completely dismissed, an indictment that will also be dismissed against Letitia James once a federal judge there decides to issue a ruling. A stunning, absolutely stunning decision that I want to walk you through right now. So this was handed down literally minutes ago by a federal judge in the Eastern District of Virginia. It reads, on September 25th, 2025, Lindsay Halligan, a former White House aide with no prosecutorial experience, appeared before a federal grand jury in the Eastern District of Virginia. Having been appointed interim U.S. attorney by the Attorney General just days before, Ms. Halligan secured a 2-count indictment charging former FBI Director James Comey Jr. with making false statements to Congress and obstructing a congressional proceeding. Mr. Comey now moves to dismiss the indictment on the ground that Ms. Halligan, the sole prosecutor who presented the case to the grand jury, was unlawfully appointed in violation of 28 United States Code Section 546 and the Constitution's Appointments Clause. As explained below, I agree with Mr. Comey that the Attorney General's attempt to install Ms. Halligan as interim U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia was invalid. And because Ms. Halligan had no lawful authority to present the indictment, I will grant Mr. Comey's motion and dismiss the indictment without prejudice. Resolving Mr. Comey's motion requires me to decide whether Ms. Halligan was validly appointed as interim U.S. Attorney under Section 546 in the Appointments Clause. If the answer to that is yes, I need not go any further and Mr. Comey's motion must be denied. But if the answer is no and Ms. Halligan had no authority to present Mr. Comey's indictment to the grand jury, then the question becomes, what remedy is appropriate? Should the indictment be dismissed? And if so, should the dismissal be with or without prejudice? I address these issues in turn, beginning with whether Ms. Halligan's appointment was valid under Section 546. In sum, the text, structure, and history of Section 546 point to one conclusion. The Attorney General's authority to appoint an interim U.S. Attorney lasts for a total of 120 days from the date she first invokes Section 546 after the departure of a Senate-confirmed U.S. Attorney. If the position remains vacant at the end of the 120-day period, the exclusive authority to make further interim appointments under the statute shifts to the district court, where it remains until the president's nominee is confirmed by the Senate. Ms. Halligan was not appointed in a manner consistent with this framework. The 120-day clock began running with Mr. Siebert's appointment on January 21st, 2025. When that expired on May 21st, 2025, so too did the Attorney General's appointment authority. Consequently, I conclude that the Attorney General's attempt to install Ms. Halligan as interim United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia was invalid and that Ms. Halligan had been unlawfully serving in that role since September 22nd, 2025. What this federal judge has concluded is that Lindsay Halligan was unlawfully appointed by the Trump Justice Department. And as a result, any decision she has made since her appointment is also invalid as a matter of law. That includes the Comey indictment, that includes the Letitia James indictment, and more. Let's continue reading with me. I have already concluded that Ms. Halligan's original appointment was invalid and that the Attorney General's attempt to retroactively bestow special attorney status on her was ineffective. As a result, the Attorney General could not have authorized Ms. Halligan, who was not an attorney for the government at the time, to present Mr. Comey's indictment to the grand jury on September 25th. The implications of a contrary conclusion are extraordinary. It would mean the government could send any private citizen off the street attorney or not, into the grand jury room. And let's look at the conclusions. For the reasons set forth above, it is ordered and adjudged as follows. Number one, the appointment of Ms. Halligan as interim U.S. attorney violated 28 U.S. Code 546 and the Appointments Clause of the U.S. Constitution. Number two, all actions flowing from Ms. Halligan's defective appointment, including securing and signing Comey's indictment, were unlawful exercise of executive power and are hereby set aside. Number three, the Attorney General's attempts to ratify Ms. Halligan's actions were ineffective and are hereby set aside. Mr. Comey's motion to dismiss the indictment is granted in accordance with this order. The indictment is dismissed without prejudice. The power to appoint an interim U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia pursuant to 28 U.S. Code 546 during the current vacancy lies with the district court until a U.S. attorney is nominated by the president, confirmed under the Senate under 28 U.S. Code 541. Okay, so that's a lot of legal jargon, but the key parts here that you need to know about is that James Comey, his indictment is done. I mean, yes, it is without prejudice. Without prejudice means that the U.S. attorney could refile, could seek an indictment again. That is what without prejudice means. But the key thing here is that James Comey, the statute of limitations for lying to Congress under oath, that expired on months ago. That expired. And so essentially because of that, it's not going to be refiled. Nothing they can do to refile it, essentially. It's done. That case is done. Now, the Letitia James indictment hasn't been officially dismissed just yet, but it will be dismissed shortly thereafter, the next probably several days, if not weeks. And there, her case could theoretically be refiled if Trump reappoints a U.S. attorney and it's a lawful appointment and all that, but that's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. You could theoretically have statute of limitations expire there as well. So we'll have to see what happens there. But ultimately, right now, what you're seeing is a major loss for the Trump administration, a major egg on their face moment for the Trump administration, an administration which has been seeking out a win for a long time. And yet here we are. They don't get a win here. They get actually a pretty big loss, one that's going to haunt them for a long time because Trump is going after his political opponents. And well, it's not working. Every time he tries to go after them, he literally fails. And this is what happened now, is that he is failing in real time to go after and prosecute those who he disagrees with, like Letitia James, like James Comey. And we're going to see this ruling is going to be appealed by the Trump Justice Department for sure. And ultimately, I don't know what will happen next. But until then, James Comey's indictment has been dismissed as a matter of law. As always, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to support my work. Spread the word, and I'll have another update for you very soon, so stay tuned for much more.